Have you ever wondered why women think, feel, or respond in ways that seem mysterious, even to themselves? Science is finally uncovering the answers. From the way emotions shape decision making to how hormones quietly influence confidence, attraction, and connection, the female brain is far more powerful and complex than most people realize. In today's video, we'll explore the hidden biological truths behind women's behavior, truths that can deepen understanding, strengthen relationships, and transform how you see yourself and the women around you. Whether you're a man trying to connect better or a woman wanting to understand your own mind, this is knowledge every human deserves to have. I'm Dr. Nora Hayes, and together, we're diving into the fascinating science of female psychology, a world where biology meets emotion and awareness becomes empowerment. Let's uncover what's been hiding in plain sight. Have you ever paused and wondered why women's emotions, energy, or even confidence can shift so dramatically from one week to the next? It's not mood swings or overthinking. It's biology, and it's breathtakingly intelligent. The female body and brain are in constant communication, guided by hormones, chemistry, and instinct that have evolved over millions of years. Yet, most of us, men and women alike, were never taught how it all truly works. I'm Dr. Nora Hayes, and in this video, we're going to uncover the fascinating science behind female psychology, the unseen forces that shape how women think, feel, and connect. From emotions to intuition, from attraction to resilience, every pattern has a purpose. When you understand that purpose, everything changes, relationships grow deeper, self-worth becomes unshakable, and health begins to flourish. This isn't about labels or stereotypes, it's about truth. Science-backed, empowering truth that helps women embrace their unique biology and helps men understand it with empathy and respect. Because when knowledge meets compassion, healing begins. So stay with me. What you'll discover today might just transform the way you see the women in your life and the woman within yourself. Have you ever noticed how some days you wake up feeling unstoppable, clear-minded, confident, and full of energy, while on others, even small tasks feel heavy and your self-belief seems to vanish? It's not weakness, it's not inconsistency, it's biology doing exactly what it's meant to do. Women's confidence isn't random, it's rhythmical, guided by a complex dance of hormones that shape how you think, feel, and show up in the world. What most people never realize is that hormones like estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone are not just reproductive chemicals. They're also powerful brain messengers. Estrogen, for example, boosts serotonin and dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitters responsible for optimism, motivation, and focus. When estrogen peaks, so does your confidence. You feel more social, creative, and decisive because your brain is literally wired for connection and success during this phase. But as estrogen dips and progesterone rises, your brain shifts gears. Progesterone is calming, protective, and introspective. It encourages rest and reflection. That's not a flaw, it's a built-in reset button, your biology inviting you to slow down, breathe, and restore. The problem is, our modern world rarely respects these natural rhythms. We push, we perform, we ignore the quiet signals asking us to pause. And over time, that disconnection erodes our inner strength. When you understand this cycle, everything changes. You stop blaming yourself for bad days and start recognizing them as a natural part of a beautifully intelligent system. Science calls this hormonal intelligence, the ability to live in sync with your body's chemistry instead of fighting against it. Women who do this experience more stable moods, sharper focus, and greater emotional resilience. Your confidence isn't something to chase, it's something to cultivate by honoring the messages your body sends. Start by tracking how your energy, mood, and motivation shift throughout your cycle. Notice when you feel naturally confident, creative, or reflective. Then align your schedule where possible. Use your high energy days for big goals, meetings, or creative work, and your quieter phases for planning, journaling, or self-care. This simple shift, living with your biology rather than against it, can completely transform how you experience success and self-worth. And for women in menopause or beyond, this same principle applies. Hormonal changes may feel like a loss, but they can also be a liberation. When estrogen and progesterone fluctuate less, the brain finds a new equilibrium. It's an invitation to redefine confidence. not as youthful intensity, but as mature clarity. Supporting brain health with omega-3s, magnesium, and mindful movement can enhance this new balance, strengthening the neurochemical pathways that sustain calm focus and optimism. Confidence, at its core, is chemistry in harmony with consciousness. When you nourish your body, understand your hormones, and listen to your inner rhythms, you stop doubting your strength. You start embodying it. Science shows us that biology is not destiny, it's potential waiting to be understood. And when women begin to live in sync with that wisdom, they don't just feel more confident. They become unstoppable forces of balance, purpose, and grace. Have you ever felt physically drained, even when your medical tests came back normal? Or maybe you've experienced tension in your chest, knots in your stomach, or a constant heaviness that no medication seems to fix. What if the problem isn't just in your body, but in the way your emotions are being held inside it? Science now confirms what ancient wisdom has always known: your emotional health is not separate from your physical health. They are two sides of the same system, constantly talking to each other. Every thought, every feeling sends a signal through your nervous system. When you're anxious, your brain releases stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, preparing your body for survival. That's helpful in danger, but not when it happens every day. Chronic stress keeps the body in a state of silent emergency, raising inflammation, weakening immunity, and even altering digestion, sleep, and hormonal balance. Over time, emotions you suppress, grief, anger, guilt, don't disappear. They stay stored in muscle tension, gut distress, and fatigue. You're not too emotional. You're biologically responding to emotional overload. The real breakthrough comes when we begin to listen instead of resist. The mind-body connection isn't just a poetic idea, it's neuroscience. The vagus nerve, for example, runs from your brain through your heart, lungs, and gut, carrying messages both ways. When your mind feels peace, your heart rhythm steadies, your digestion improves, and your immune system strengthens. When your mind is burdened, your body mirrors that turmoil. Healing begins when we create harmony between the two. Start with awareness. Ask yourself, what am I holding in my body that I haven't yet allowed myself to feel? You don't have to relive old pain, but you do need to acknowledge it. Gentle practices like deep breathing, journaling, or mindful movement aren't soft solutions. They are scientifically proven ways to lower cortisol, balance the nervous system, and reduce inflammation. Just 10 minutes a day of slow, intentional breathing can calm the amygdala, the brain's fear center, and activate the parasympathetic system, your body's natural healing mode. Food, too, plays a powerful role in emotional balance. The gut produces nearly 90% of your serotonin, your happiness hormone. Diets rich in whole foods, fiber, and omega-3s don't just nourish your body, they stabilize mood and cognition. Sleep, sunlight, hydration, and human connection are not luxuries, they are biochemical necessities for emotional and physical resilience. When women learn to treat their emotions as vital health data instead of weaknesses, everything changes. The headaches ease, digestion calms, the body finally exhales. You stop seeing your symptoms as enemies and start recognizing them as messengers asking for balance. Healing is not about silencing emotions, it's about understanding their purpose. Your body listens to every word your mind speaks. When your inner language becomes kinder, your biology follows. Real strength isn't in ignoring pain, it's in understanding it. And when you bring compassion to your own emotional landscape, your body begins to respond with energy, peace, and the deep, steady wellness you've been searching for all along. Do you ever wake up already feeling tired, like your energy has been drained before the day even begins? You try coffee, supplements, even sheer willpower, but the spark that once came so easily feels harder to find. You're not lazy and you're not broken. What you're feeling is something millions of women experience but rarely talk about: burnout. A deep, biological depletion that goes beyond exhaustion. It's your body's way of whispering, I can't keep running like this. Burnout isn't just mental fatigue. It's a physiological state where your stress systems have been over-activated for too long. When cortisol, the body's primary stress hormone, stays high day after day, your brain and adrenal glands struggle to keep up. The result: unstable energy, brain fog, poor sleep, and a creeping sense of emotional numbness. Your body isn't betraying you. It's protecting you. It's slowing you down to survive. Science shows that women are especially vulnerable to this cycle because of how our brains are wired for empathy and connection. We feel deeply. We multitask. We carry invisible loads of emotional labor, caring for others, managing homes, striving for perfection, often without replenishing ourselves. And over time, this emotional generosity becomes physical depletion. Your body starts borrowing energy from systems meant for repair and restoration. Hormones like estrogen and thyroid levels may fluctuate, sleep becomes shallow, and metabolism slows. It's not a lack of discipline, it's biology begging for balance. The path to recovery begins not with doing more, but with allowing less. Less rushing, less guilt, less pressure to prove your worth through productivity. Rest is not a reward, it's a requirement. When you give your nervous system permission to slow down, your energy returns not from caffeine, but from chemistry. The parasympathetic system, the body's rest and repair mode, activates only when you stop fighting fatigue and start listening to it. Practical, science-backed changes can create profound shifts. Begin with nourishment that stabilizes blood sugar. Protein-rich breakfasts, colorful vegetables, and healthy fats help regulate cortisol and sustain energy naturally. Prioritize deep sleep by dimming lights an hour before bed and creating digital boundaries. Melatonin rises only when your brain feels safe and undistracted. Movement, too, is medicine, but it must match your current energy. Gentle walks, stretching, or yoga can restore adrenal balance better than high-intensity workouts during burnout phases. Most importantly, reconnect with what gives you meaning. Chronic exhaustion often masks emotional depletion. What part of you has been neglected while tending to everything else? Reclaiming joy and purpose reactivates dopamine, the brain's motivation molecule, and reminds your body that life is not just about surviving, but living. Healing from burnout is not about getting back to who you were. It's about evolving into someone wiser, softer, and more in tune with her body's wisdom. Energy is not found in constant motion. It's found in alignment. When you learn to honor your limits, your biology responds with vitality. You rise again, not by force, but by flow. And this time your energy becomes sustainable, radiant, and deeply alive. Have you ever met someone and instantly felt drawn to them before you even exchanged a word? Or maybe you felt your heart race around a person for no clear reason at all. We often call it chemistry. And while that word sounds romantic, it's actually biological. Attraction isn't random. It's a finely tuned conversation between your brain, hormones, and intuition. And when we understand it, we unlock not just better relationships with others, but a deeper connection to ourselves. Neuroscience shows that attraction begins in the brain's limbic system, the emotional center responsible for motivation and pleasure. When you meet someone who aligns with your subconscious needs or values, your brain releases dopamine, oxytocin, and norepinephrine. These chemicals create that familiar rush of excitement, focus, and warmth. But here's the fascinating truth: attraction is not just about looks or charm. It's your body's way of signaling something about this feels safe, inspiring, or meaningful. For women especially, the brain and heart are deeply intertwined. Studies reveal that emotional safety activates the same reward centers as physical touch. This means that genuine connection, feeling heard, respected, and understood, creates the same neurochemical response as attraction itself. That's why relationships rooted in empathy last longer and feel more fulfilling. They literally rewire the brain for calm and trust instead of stress and anxiety. But here's where modern life complicates things. We live in an age of constant stimulation, quick texts, filtered images, instant attraction without emotional grounding. Our brains are overloaded, and the result is confusion. We mistake dopamine-driven excitement for genuine compatibility. This often leads to emotional burnout in relationships, the same way overwork drains your physical energy. Real intimacy, however, is built in the slower, quieter spaces. It's not about intensity, it's about consistency. Science teaches us that love and attraction thrive when we balance chemistry with consciousness. Practicing mindfulness in relationships helps the prefrontal cortex, the brain's logic center, work alongside the emotional brain, creating clarity. When you take a moment to breathe before reacting, to listen instead of assume, you strengthen neural pathways for empathy and patience. Over time, This turns emotional connection into emotional intelligence, a skill that not only enriches love, but enhances every part of your life. Understanding your own patterns is part of that intelligence. Ask yourself, when do I feel most connected? What triggers disconnection or self-doubt? These answers are more than reflection, they're maps to your emotional health. The more you align your relationships with your authentic needs, the more stable your neurochemistry becomes. You stop chasing validation and start attracting harmony. True attraction is not about finding someone who completes you. It's about meeting someone who reflects the strength, peace, and clarity you've cultivated within yourself. When your brain feels safe, your body relaxes, your intuition sharpens, and your heart opens naturally. That's when connection transforms from chemistry into companionship, from reaction into resonance. And that, more than anything, is where real love begins, in the quiet confidence of a woman who understands both her science and her soul. Have you ever wondered how some women can face heartbreak, illness, or loss, and still rise with grace, strength, and an unshakable calm? It's not luck, it's resilience, and it's written into the female brain itself. From a biological standpoint, women are designed not just to survive challenges, but to grow stronger through them. Deep within the architecture of the female mind lies a blueprint for healing, adaptation, and renewal that science is only beginning to fully understand. The female brain is wired for connection and meaning. When faced with stress, women's brains release oxytocin, known as the bonding hormone, which encourages reaching out for support rather than withdrawing. This instinct to connect isn't weakness, it's a survival strategy. It lowers cortisol, stabilizes blood pressure, and enhances immune function. In fact, research shows that women who nurture relationships or practice compassion during difficult times recover faster from trauma and experience fewer stress-related illnesses. Connection is not emotional dependence, it's biological medicine. At the same time, the female brain's hippocampus, the region tied to memory and learning, is uniquely sensitive to emotion. That's why women often remember not just what happened, but how it felt. While this can make emotional pain more vivid, it also fuels empathy, intuition, and the ability to find lessons in hardship. Every time you process pain consciously, you're reshaping neural pathways. You're teaching your brain that difficulty is not danger, it's transformation. Neuroplasticity, the brain's capacity to rewire itself, ensures that healing is not only possible but inevitable when approached with awareness and care. Yet too many women are taught to silence their strength, to keep smiling, to push through, to pretend everything is fine. But healing doesn't come from suppression, it comes from integration. When you acknowledge pain, name it, and move through it with kindness, your brain releases endorphins and serotonin, the natural chemicals of peace and recovery. Emotional honesty is not vulnerability, it's physiology working toward balance. Resilience also depends on how we treat our bodies. The brain and body are one ecosystem. Chronic sleep deprivation, nutrient deficiency, or lack of movement can dull the brain's ability to repair itself. On the other hand, nourishing foods, especially those rich in omega-3s, B vitamins, and antioxidants, feed the brain's recovery centers. Gentle exercise increases BDNF, a growth factor that strengthens neural connections and improves mood. Small, consistent acts of self-care literally rebuild the brain's resilience circuit. But perhaps the most profound truth is this: resilience isn't about returning to who you were, it's about becoming someone wiser. The female brain's adaptability ensures that every challenge leaves behind wisdom, perspective, and depth. Each setback reawakens parts of you that are meant to lead with more compassion and courage. So if you're in a season of struggle, remember your biology is on your side. You were built for healing. Every breath, every mindful pause, every choice to rest instead of rush is an act of self-reconstruction. You are not breaking down. You are reorganizing into someone stronger, steadier, and more radiant than before. Science calls it neuroplasticity. I call it rebirth.